How's it, man? Alright, you know the drill. Standard form. So let's get that 9x squared over. Changes into negative 9x squared when you move it over. Nothing else changes. Now I want to start factorizing. So to do that, the number in front of x squared needs to be positive. So I divide everything by -1. And then just remember the rule, your inequality changes direction. Okay, factors of 9, 3 and 3. And then the factors of 4, maybe 2 and 2, multiply when you go across, and you get 6 and 6. That won't work to give me -15, so maybe if I try 4 and 1. 12 and 3, if I -12 minus 3, it will give me the -15. So I transfer those signs across, and now I have my two brackets. Right, so I don't like making mistakes when I go for my CVs, so I just quickly do them on the side, just to make it a bit easier for myself. So take the 1 over, divide both sides by 3, and I get my first critical value to be a third. In a very similar fashion, I'm going to get my second critical value to be 4 over 3. And then after I write down my critical values, I'm going to want to do my parabola. So I'm going to draw my parabola. It's just the stock standard happy face. And when I draw my parabola, I put the lower critical value on the left, higher one on the right. And I want the portions where it's above 0, so it's the outskirts of the parabola. And from there, I can form my solution. X will need to be smaller than a third, or x will need to be greater than 4 over 3. Now, standard form. So write the bracket twice and FOIL. Don't fall in the trap of showering the power. So if I FOIL, I'm going to have two like terms at the end, the +1 minus 9. So I'll just take a quick sec to do those like terms. They will give me -8, and now I start factorizing the trinomial. So the factors of 8, that will give me -2. 4 times 2 comes to mind. So I'm going to need to add or subtract those. So -4 plus 2. Okay, so there's our brackets. X plus 2, x minus 4. That gives us our critical values to be -2 and -4. So I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, just drawing the parabola, getting it ready. It is a happy face because the number in front of x squared is positive. And there are my two little critical values, and from there I can jump to my solution. So x will need to be smaller than or equal to -2, or bigger than or equal to 4. Just make sure all your inequality symbols match at the end of the day. Okay, question 3. It's already in standard form, so I'll go straight to factorization. Factors of 3, that'll give me -2. If I say -3 plus 1, that works. So now I jump to my critical values. They will be 3 and -1. Or should I say, or x equals -1. Draw my parabola, lower on the left, higher on the right. And we can see where it's above 0. So we want to shade the outskirts of the parabola. And giving us our answer, x should be smaller than 1 or greater than 3. And make sure your inequalities match. Alright, it's already in standard form, so we go straight to the factorizing of the trinomial. 7 times 3 will give me 21, and to make +4, I'll need to say -3 plus 7. So there's my two brackets, x minus 3, x plus 7, and then I can jump to my critical values. They will be 3 or -7. Go to the parabola. It is going to be a happy face because the number in front of x squared is positive. I want the regions below 0, so I shade in that in-between region, low on the left, higher on the right, and from there we can form our solution. X must be in between -7 and 3. Alright, so it's already in standard form, so we go straight to factorizing the trinomial. Factors of 4, 2 and 2, factors of 9, 3 and 3. Multiply going across, they both give me 6. If I add 6, it will give me that +12 in the middle. Now I transfer the signs across like so. And now I just chuck a little x after the 2's. and I have my two brackets. So this is a perfect trinomial because we're getting the same bracket twice. So that means we're only going to have one critical value. So just to get that critical value, you make the first factor equal to 0. You don't have to do the second factor because it's exactly the same. There's no need to do it twice. So there's my critical value of minus 3 over 2. So my only critical value is minus 3 over 2, which means the parabola's bum or turning point will sit exactly on the number line. And I want to know where this thing is greater than 0. That happens everywhere except for the turning point. It does not happen at the turning point because it's equal to 0 over there. So I say x is an element of real numbers. However, x cannot equal negative 3 over 2. Alright, question 6. So I'm going to replace this f of x with what it actually is. So after I perform that substitution, then we can see it's factorized and there's a 0 on the right hand side. So you jump straight to critical values. So the first critical value will be minus 4. And the second critical value will be positive 3. So just if you take that minus x over, it becomes positive x, just to show you where that 3 actually came from. Alright, now be careful when you draw your parabola. I've got a negative x times a x over there, which will give you negative x squared, which is a sad face. So we've actually got to draw a sad face. Now we want to know where that sad face is above 0. So we can see that the parabola is above the line in this little region that I shade over here. And then we plot the critical values, lower on the left, higher on the right, to give our solution of x must be in between 3 and negative 4. Right, for the next question, same as before, factorized, and it's got a 0 on that side. So I'll go straight to critical values. And then I'm going to draw my parabola. And you might notice it's happening again. These two multiply together, give me minus x squared, which is a sad face parabola. So I'm going to draw a sad face. And then I want to know where it's above or equal to 0. And that will be where the parabola is above the number line. So it's the shaded region over here. So your answer will read x is in between or equal to 1 and 2. Make sure your inequalities match. Okay, last question for the day features the highest common factor. We're going to get our standard form, move the 5x over, and then we're going to factorize out an x, and we can get our two critical values from there, x equals 0 or x equals positive 5. So there's our two factors. Once we get our critical values, we draw our parabola as always. This one is just a stock standard happy face because the number in front of x squared is positive. And we want the portions greater than or equal to 0. So we shade the outskirts to give our solution of x is smaller than or equal to 0 or x is bigger than or equal to 5.